Good morning, everyone, and we are back. Today is Thursday, May 25th, and I'm joined once again by Robert Lukowski, the CEO of Quantum Computing Inc., stock symbols QUBT. We've just seen some record growth in the stock. We've seen some tremendous trading volume. There's a lot of conversations with what's going on in AI. Bob, thanks for being on the program with me again today.
It's great to be here as always, Hunter.
Very awesome. Good. Well, I want to dive into it. First of all, for all of our viewing audience, I just want to say that I am also rocking the QCI swag along with Bob today. So we're definitely all about the quantum today, which is good stuff. I love the esprit de corps. So press release came out, quantum computing market. Bob's going to reach 4.8 billion, growing at a 31% year over year by 2030. This is from the market research future. Obviously, it's growing by leaps and bounds. We're seeing the advancement of AI. When ChatGPT came out, we saw like millions of users in a matter of really moments when you consider it. But I want to talk a little bit about obviously the growth in the market. But the big news is NVIDIA, $1 trillion market cap, $1 trillion market cap. Break this down for us, Bob. What are you seeing as the CEO? What does this mean? Is there a chance that with everything that QCI is doing and the computing power that you have with your room temperature photonic quantum computer to work with NVIDIA for powering a lot of these things that they're doing? Walk us through the industry. The floor is yours this morning.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. So, listen, we did the LOI with Million Ways after announcing the partnership we had to do a test case with them, because we wanted to demonstrate the value of quantum computing in this space, right? It's been not really talked about at all. And, deservedly, NVIDIA, AMD, they all garner this attention because people recognize the fact that you need to continuously add power to these AI systems as they grow. The biggest impediment, and I think this has widely been discussed by some very credible folks in the industry, the biggest impediment to the expansion of AI is the power for not just computational capability, but the training that's required to do the AI sets, the training sets that are required, the continuous updating. So you have a power, you've got a speed capability, you have computational capability along with the power, and then you actually have electrical power consumption, right? So there's a number of things here that impact it. And so the recognition that NVIDIA is getting appropriately with regard to powering the AI systems, I think will eventually encompass what we're doing. I think people are going to recognize that quantum computing as a domain has a significant contribution to make to the AI world. And specifically for QCI, what that means is we're already in the market with a reservoir quantum computer. We're already demonstrating the power of quantum computing. The next step for that for us is, we're producing our own quantum computing chips. So, as we continue to focus on the development of our fab, which we talked about previously, if you might recall.
Yes.
It's all geared toward creating quantum computing photonic chips that allow us to power these machines. And on our roadmap is the ability for us to get these to a form factor that we can actually create a hybrid computer, so we can plug into the back of a classical computer and bring the best of both worlds to the world. And meaning you have classical computing, which is never going to go away, right? It's always going to be out there because there's going to be things that only classical can do. And you have quantum computing, as we've talked about. It's a speed, it's a computational factor, it's the complexity capabilities that quantum brings to that space. It's really going to power AI. If we combine those, we have a real true hybrid computer, which is exactly on our roadmap. When we talk about chip development, that's precisely what we're doing. I think we're going to have a major impact on the AI space. We already know it because power and the complexity of these systems require quantum computing to be able to be successful.
I want to get your comments on this article, Bob. This was published about 41 minutes ago from CNBC, and I'm just going to read you the headlines and give you a couple of the bullet points, okay? And get your initial reaction. This is the AI chip boom is pushing NVIDIA towards $1 trillion, but it's not going to help Intel or AMD. Now, one of the key points in this article is it says that the data center demand, now these are data center demand for AI chips, was why NVIDIA guided to 11 billion in sales during the current quarter, blowing away the analysts' estimates of 7.15 billion. So obviously, when we talk about computational power, what is the position that QCI is with being able to obviously, be the backbone for these types of data centers? Because isn't
Sure.
it about processing power?
It is about processing power, and it's about electrical consumption as well, right? So you look at the power consumptions here that these chips bring, or the GPUs and NVIDIA GPUs, they are power hogs. These data centers require their own separate grid in some places. I live in the data center capital of the world, to be perfectly honest with you, here in Northern Virginia. The biggest challenge these data centers have is that they require more and more power. And and the county that I live in, which is the data center capital, is up to its limit with how many data centers they can support based upon current power production capabilities. It's
So
not just
is it
power
directly
production.
affected by the grid?
It's directly affected by the grid. It's directly affected by the ability to get the power to the data centers. So where quantum computing comes into this equation is, I'll give you an example of what we've done in the past. So we ran the problem, the BMW problem. We've talked about it plenty of times.
Right.
We did that on 96 core, right? We ran a problem on 96 core and consumed a significant amount of power in the megawatt range of power to be able to produce an answer. And then we ran it on our own machine, our Dirac 1. We actually got a better answer, as we've demonstrated, but we used 80 watts of power.
Oh, wow.
A significant drop in the power consumption to get to actually a better answer in less time. So that's just an example, and it's easy to map that example into other power consumption requirements for AI, right? That's where quantum computing is going to have a significant benefit, not just in the performance advantages, but in the power consumption advantages. And that's material to data centers. So imagine you can bring better computational capability without increasing your power consumption. Who wouldn't want to do that?
Well, everyone would. It seems like a massive benefit, not just to, the individual corporation, but also to the overall community. Because if you're not draining the power grid, then that's a good thing. I mean, here's one of the quotes. It says the data center of the past, which was largely CPUs for file retrieval, is going to be the future. It is going to be in the future generative data. And that's very, very interesting. And this is a comment from the CEO of NVIDIA. So instead of retrieving data, you're going to be retrieving some data, but you've got to generate most of the data using AI. So it would seem to me that in a perfect world, and it seems like we're slowly getting there, right? But we're making strides, is that having the back end power of QCI with the overall arching AI driven applications with entities like NVIDIA, having QCI power that is going to create cost reduction, greater efficiencies, and speed.
And absolutely right. And not to mention the fact that, at some point, the AI systems are going to be bumping up to a practical limit, because the regenerative AI has got to be continuously trained. And that training goes up with levels of complexity just based upon the data, the size of the data ever increasing, because you're looking for connections that, if we talk about AI in the context of comparing it to the human mind, right? The human mind makes those connections subconsciously all the time, right? You're acquiring data all the time. You look out the window, you're talking on the video, we're having a conversation. The data acquisition and the synthesis of that data in our mind is happening pretty seamlessly, right? Pretty powerful computer. For AI to be able to replicate that, to be truly in the, at the levels of what we're talking about here, the capacity for the human mind, requires a significant amount of processing power as new data is acquired. You've got to put new training sets in, right? We're not just connecting neurons and creating, new pathways. The same thing has to be done on a computer, which is a function of power. So quantum computing is going to have a direct impact on that space. It already is, from what we see with what we're doing, and where these classical systems are just beginning to end. That's really just the beginning for quantum computing capabilities.
Well, I mean, I just want to make one more point here with regards to some of the analysts say that NVIDIA remains in the lead for AI chips because of its proprietary software that makes it easier to use all of the GPU hardware features for AI applications. But I also want the listeners and everyone to understand that QCI, you are also a chip manufacturer, not in the same method of what they're doing. So can we create a differentiation for the viewers on the chips that you're manufacturing versus the chips that they're manufacturing?
Yeah, sure. So listen, I don't have any delusions. We're a small company. It'd be great to be in NVIDIA someday, right?
Sure.
but the reality of it is we're in a completely different chip market. They're using silicon-based chips. We use lithium niobate for our chip-based silicon substrate. And why that's different is because we're doing quantum computing on a chip, right? So we're actually creating our quantum computing to be on a chip. That means we've got the waveguides, which is lithium niobate substrate. We've got beam splitter, laser. We have all that computational capability on a chip, which can plug into a back of a classical computer or just stand on its own and effectively, and do the computations. That's different than the way current chip manufacturing is being done. The only thing you can declare that's probably equivalent is the fact we're calling them chips, but they're fundamentally different. The computational capability of these chips far supersedes the existing silicon variety.
Well, so with that being said, there is within the government, and I know we've talked a little bit about this, but if you could maybe go in, because I want people to understand that the market size for this, and I know we don't ever want to put numbers on it or say anything, like that, but the CHIPS Act that the government came out with, which was to take away the not having to rely on essentially foreign entities creating chips for us to rely on for our supply chain, is creating more U.S.-based chip manufacturers. What was the total size of that CHIP Act? Was it something like 300 billion or something like that?
It was 52 billion. It's a big number.
Yeah, 52
billion. 39 billion of which was to go to the reshoring or the establishment of U.S.-based chip manufacturing, all silicon-based, right? I mean, virtually everything runs on a chip today. So we're talking about things that run dishwashers and refrigerators to cars to computers, right?
Right.
But it's not new technology. It's basically bringing all that technology back to the United States so we don't have those supply chain problems. But there's a portion of that money, and it's a big number. It's like 13 billion, which is for other chip designs and other chip manufacturing, under which we fall for R&D and development. And quantum computing is called out in the CHIPS Act as a domain, not specifically the chips, but that you can't do one without the other.
Right.
So if you're leading to the question of what do we get out of it, I mean, clearly we're going for some of that money. Our budget for that money is relatively small by comparison. We're not talking billions, we're talking millions. And but I'll be candid with you. And as much as we want to be a part of that CHIPS Act, and we believe that we will be beneficiaries of that,
Mm-hmm.
we're going to do this on our own, whether I do it or not.
Right.
It's core to our business. So
Right.
we're developing our own fab one way or the other. I'm not going to wait for the government to necessarily give us money for that. We've got state partners, we've got commercial partners. We're very aggressively going into the space. It's core to what we do. And I'm never permission asking kind of guy anyway, right? I know what we have to do to make this company successful.
Right.
So whether the government's on board or not, we're going to go ahead and do this. And this is going to be very core and very beneficial to our shareholders, but to the industry in general.
Well, and I like staying on top of this because, I mean, man, information is happening every day. I mean, this news that came out, I mean, this morning, and I'm looking, I mean, the volume for QUBT right now, and not to be, from a market hunter's perspective, right? You're almost trading at 1 million shares already, and it's not even 10 o'clock yet. So, 800 and says, so the volume is clearly there. People are clearly talking about it. This news is trickling down to, all of the other kind of players in the space. So it's going to be very interesting to see how QCI, NVIDIA, the AI, Million Ways, all kind of comes together in a beautiful little story. So that's definitely exciting to follow.
No, it is, and listen, I think people are finally paying attention to it. We're still one of the few pure public plays in the space. We're clearly, what's differentiating about our company versus any other quantum computing company out there in the market today is we have, because we're photonic based, we've got core capability, which is both computationally relevant, right? We create our own, quantum computers. And it's also in the adjacent markets for other technologies, right? We have LiDAR, we have imaging, so we've got sensing, we've got cybersecurity. It's all built off the core technology. And we talked about this earlier. You think about our core team being the hub, and we have all these different domains we can spoke out of to create capabilities out of. There's tremendous market opportunity.
Yeah,
I think people are finally waking up to that.
Yeah, I really like it. It's the model of the platform, and then having other components come on, utilizing that underlying infrastructure, and let them go and be the domain experts in certain areas.
That's exactly right.
And,
That's exactly right.
That creates that fundamental base.
Right. That's right. I mean, our go-to-market strategy is having good partners that already have their domains, that really know how to get into that market space, right? We do what we really do really well, and we'll partner with them to do exactly the same thing.
Well, and that's going to be exciting to see the uses of like the quantum number generator and
Right.
some of these other things. And obviously now with this new AI component with Million Ways, I think that's going to garner a lot of attention. I mean, I've been doing a lot of research in this space. I mean, even with the company that it was called Character AI or something like that. They were featured.
Yeah, right.
$1 billion market cap, done,
Right.
just like that. $1 billion market cap, because they were talking with I think when they were on CNBC, they asked whether or not how to address the debt ceiling issue that's going on.
Yeah.
And then they asked 3 different, Milton Friedman, what he would have done,
Right.
some of these other things. So, I mean, clearly when we start adding emotion, and actually, yes, the other day on the Market Hunters podcast, we had we had the CEO of Presto AI. And Presto AI is a voice-driven AI for drive-throughs to make drive-through ordering more efficient. So we're seeing applications all over now that's going to affect our daily lives. How that data is processed, fast, efficient, at a quantum speed. Obviously, it's going to be powered by QCI. So it just makes sense in the marketplace.
Well, and people struggle, maybe not struggle, but they certainly look for opportunities to figure out ways that, AI is going to bring more value to them, right? It's not just a capability, but listen, the business world, especially in today's economy, having more efficiency, better costs, to lower your costs, better ways to lower your costs and become more efficient. So if you look at that retail application for a second, because we're working on very similar types of applications, right? And there's a case study that we have where a retailer, because they're taking voice orders and they're doing it through an AI platform, if they get that order wrong, they're going to comp that customer with that meal, right?
Oh, wow.
So that directly hits EBITDA, right? Because you're talking about, you're just going to, no pun intended, you're going to eat that cost.
Right.
So if you don't get that right, you multiply that times, what, 1 million meal, whatever the number is, right? It's a big number. So AI can definitely, and we power that. So you talk about the voice recognition going on the Million Ways thing, the whole value that we're bringing to them is the ability, and this is what quantum reservoir computing is beautiful at doing.
Right.
We have the ability to process voice in the same way people process text to get a higher degree of accuracy and efficiency to prevent those kind of problems. So we can directly impact that bottom line, right? And save money while improving efficiency and effectiveness. So that's a direct relationship to where quantum computing can do that. And I can do that today.
Wow.
Right? So,
wow.
I mean, we're just getting into the marketplace for this, but I would love to be able to, just show folks how we're doing this so we can actually get into that marketplace and start saving money. There's a lot of ways these technologies are going to do. And I'll go back, so we'll look at this partnership and we're going to try to develop other partnerships as well. This is not just a one-trick pony. There's a lot of ways we've become the power behind all these AI systems. And I think once people understand that this is not just a silicon chip play, this is a quantum computing capability, there'll be people knocking on the door.
Yeah, well, we're definitely following the company to see that happen, and I think it's sooner. It's going to be happening sooner rather than later.
Could very well.
The way the market's going right now. So,
yeah.
Bob, any final words on today's kind of market update?
Yeah, no, we're good. I think companies executing, we're doing really well. We've got a lot of tremendous things coming out of the marketplace. Just stay tuned. We've been having some announcements, and I say this probably broken record, but I'll just tell you, we're just going to continue to execute. We're not going to talk about what the future looks like. We're talking about what we're doing today, what's real in the marketplace, and what we're delivering. And I think that has more value to our shareholders than anything else.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and I think the volume speaking for itself as well. So people are clearly, people that read the quantum newsletter that I put out, people that read any of the market reports that I put out, even in industry when I'm talking with people. I had someone in my office the other day, and I had the jacket hanging up in the office, and the guy was asking about the D-Wave computer. I said, really? He's like, yeah, I've been following this quantum stuff. Never met the guy before. So, it's really interesting to see how this is kind of taking shape. But, having access to CEOs like yourself that are talking about it, that are out in the forefront, I think is very important for not just the shareholders, but for the marketplace in general, because we can hear it straight from you, what's going on. So it's really good. So,
and I'll say one thing, and I have to have the last word, I apologize, but it's not just about the marketplace. We're not trying to be trendy. Even, hey, listen, I'm trying to be a swag guy.
Right. Yeah.
But no, that's not that's the kind of the joke, right?
Yeah.
But the reality of it is we're bringing real capability, and people talk about the benefits of what AI may bring to society. They're also talking about what may go wrong, but we're focusing on bringing these capabilities. We talk about democratization of quantum computing. We also want to talk about bringing these capabilities to companies that don't have the resources of what these big companies do, right?
Right.
But we want to bring innovation to the marketplace, and that's what we're going to power, right? We're coming in with a capability that is affordable and accessible, that will allow AI companies to bring their products to the market with innovation that are really going to make big impacts in the society today. We're trying to do good. Yes, absolutely want to do the best for our shareholders, right? But we have a mission to do good here. The quantum computing company, QCI, is about really trying to bring these capabilities to people that have a beneficial societal impact. The only way we're going to be able to do that is if we can power technologies like this so we can get them out there.
Well, couldn't have said it any better myself. So that was excellent. Very, very, very good stuff, Bob. Thanks so much for joining on the program. Make sure everyone you like, share, and subscribe. Make sure you follow QCI on LinkedIn. They put out a lot of good information, so you can follow them there. And also make sure you follow them on Twitter and across all social platforms, because they're daily updating all of this. And stay tuned to these channels, because you're going to get more from my conversations with Bob as well, to make sure that you're up to speed on what's going on with QCI and the industry. So thank you again.
And I'll be a fashion icon here pretty soon. So
there you go.
Stay tuned,
good.
man.
Very good.
All right.
Thank